December 1st, 2012, 7:20 a.m., Kansas City, Missouri. An NFL linebacker is driving home. His hands grip the steering wheel a little too tight. His phone screen shows 5 missed calls, all from the same person. Kasandra Perkins, his girlfriend, the mother of his 3-month-old daughter. In exactly 47 minutes, he will murder her. 10 bullets, 10 shots fired into the woman he claimed to love. And then he'll drive to his workplace, Arrowhead Stadium, home of the Kansas City Chiefs, walk up to his coaches, thank them for everything they've done, and shoot himself in the head right in front of them. This is not a story about football. This is a story about what happens when brain damage, jealousy, alcohol, and rage collide in the most devastating way possible. This is the story of Jovan Belcher and Kasandra Perkins, a tragedy that shook the NFL and forced America to confront uncomfortable truths about domestic violence, mental health, and the hidden cost of America's most popular sport. Welcome to GCaseFiles. I'm your host, and today we're uncovering one of the darkest days in NFL history. Let's begin. Before we get to that horrible morning in December, we need to understand who these people were. Because Jovan Belcher and Kasandra Perkins weren't just headlines. They were real people with dreams, families, and futures that should have been long and full. Jovan Belcher was born on July 24, 1987, in West Babylon, New York. Raised by a single mother, Cheryl Shepard, Jovan learned early what hard work meant. His mother worked multiple jobs to provide for him. She taught him discipline. She taught him that nothing in life comes easy. And Jovan took that lesson to heart. In high school, he was a standout athlete: football, wrestling, track. He was strong, fast, and relentless. Coaches loved him because he wasn't just talented, he was coachable. He listened. He worked harder than everyone else. He earned a scholarship to the University of Maine, where he became one of the best linebackers in school history. 4 years, 347 tackles, team captain, academic all-conference. This wasn't just some athletic prodigy. Jovan was smart, disciplined, and driven. But here's the thing about college football. It doesn't guarantee anything. When the 2009 NFL draft came around, Jovan Belcher's name wasn't called. Not in the first round, not in the second, not at all. He went undrafted. For most players, that's the end of the dream, but not for Jovan. The Kansas City Chiefs gave him a chance. They signed him as an undrafted free agent. No guaranteed money, no spotlight, just an opportunity to prove himself. And prove himself he did. By 2010, Jovan Belcher was a starting linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs. By 2012, he was making over $600,000 a year. He had an apartment, a car, a future. He was living the American dream. But dreams, as we know, can turn into nightmares. Now, let me introduce you to Kasandra Perkins. She was born on February 8, 1990, in Austin, Texas. 22 years old in 2012. Beautiful, kind, the type of person people naturally gravitated toward. Her friends and family described her the same way. She lit up every room she walked into. Kasandra wasn't just pretty. She was smart and driven. She was working toward building a better life for herself. She volunteered with the Chiefs Women's Organization, a group dedicated to community service and supporting families connected to the team. She was known for her warmth, her laugh, and her genuine care for others. In 2011, Kasandra met Jovan Belcher through a connection that seemed almost fated. Chiefs running back Jamal Charles and his wife were close to Kasandra. His wife was actually Kasandra's cousin. They introduced Kasandra and Jovan at a team event. The chemistry was instant. Jovan was charming, successful, and seemed to have everything going for him. Kasandra was beautiful, smart, and full of life. They fell for each other hard and fast. By early 2012, Kasandra was pregnant. And on September 11th, 2012, their daughter was born. They named her Zoe Michelle Belcher. A 3-month-old baby girl with her whole life ahead of her. On paper, this looked like the perfect family. NFL player, beautiful girlfriend, new baby, the kind of story that gets featured in feel-good sports segments. But behind closed doors, things were falling apart. Let's talk about what most people don't see when they watch NFL games on Sunday. They see the highlights, the tackles, the celebrations, the million-dollar contracts. What they don't see, the toll it takes. Football is a violent sport. Every single play, players are hitting each other at full speed. Helmets collide. Bodies slam into the ground, over and over and over again. And your brain is bouncing around inside your skull with every hit. Scientists now know that this causes something called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE for short. CTE is a degenerative brain disease. It's caused by repeated head trauma, and it doesn't just give you headaches. It fundamentally changes who you are as a person. Symptoms include memory loss, confusion, impaired judgment, depression, aggression, impulse control problems, suicidal thoughts. Sound familiar? Because those are the exact symptoms Jovan Belcher started showing in 2012. But here's the cruel part. CTE can only be diagnosed after death. You can't test for it while someone is alive. You can only confirm it during an autopsy by examining the brain tissue directly. So in 2012, nobody knew Jovan Belcher had CTE. Not his coaches, not team doctors, not Kasandra, not even Jovan himself. All they knew was that Jovan was changing. He was becoming more irritable, more paranoid, more prone to sudden outbursts of anger. And his relationship with Kasandra, it was becoming toxic. Friends and family later reported that Jovan and Kasandra argued constantly. About what? About everything. Money, Jovan was making over $500,000 a year, but it was disappearing fast. He spent recklessly, cars, clothes, nights out, gambling. Kasandra worried about their future, about saving for Zoe. Jovan didn't want to hear it. Custody, even though they lived together, they fought about who would have custody of Zoe if they ever split up. Neither fully trusted the other. Partying, Jovan couldn't seem to stop going out, even with a newborn at home. Even when Kasandra begged him to stay, he'd disappear for hours, sometimes all night, and come home drunk or hungover. Jealousy, this is where it gets really dark. Both Jovan and Kasandra accused each other of cheating. The jealousy was eating them alive. And here's something most people don't know. Jovan actually was seeing someone else. Police reports released after the murder-suicide revealed that Jovan had a secret girlfriend, a woman he was involved with behind Kasandra's back. And months before the murder, Jovan had sent this other woman threatening text messages. In those texts, he said he would shoot Kasandra Perkins if she didn't leave him alone. Read that again. Months before the murder, Jovan literally texted someone that he would shoot Kasandra. The other woman thought he was joking. She didn't take it seriously. She didn't report it. Big mistake. By November 2012, things had gotten so bad that Jovan's mother, Cheryl Shepard, flew in from New York to Kansas City. She moved into their apartment. Think about that. Jovan was 25 years old. He was a professional NFL player making over $600,000 a year, and his mother had to move in because his life was that unstable. Cheryl could see what was happening. Her son was spiraling. The relationship was toxic. The baby was caught in the middle. She tried to help. She tried to mediate. She tried to keep the peace. But some situations are beyond saving. And on the night of November 30th, 2012, everything that had been building finally exploded. November 30th, 2012, Friday night. Most NFL players spend Friday nights preparing for Sunday's game, studying film, resting, getting ready mentally and physically. Not Jovan Belcher. That night, Jovan went out, not with Kasandra, not with his teammates, with the other woman. They went to a bar, they drank, they partied, hours passed. Back at the apartment, Kasandra was home with their 3-month-old daughter Zoe and Jovan's mother. She called Jovan. Once, no answer. Twice, no answer. 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Every call went to voicemail. Kasandra knew exactly what was happening. She'd been through this before. Jovan was with someone else, and he wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. The hours dragged on. Midnight passed, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Still no word from Jovan. At approximately 2:30 a.m. on December 1st, Kansas City police officers were doing a routine patrol when they noticed a car parked suspiciously near an apartment complex. They approached. Inside, they found a man asleep behind the wheel. Jovan Belcher. The officers woke him up. They immediately smelled alcohol. They ran his ID and saw that he was a Kansas City Chiefs player. Now, here's where this story could have gone differently. The officers could have arrested Jovan. They could have given him a DUI. They could have taken him into custody. If they had, Kasandra Perkins would still be alive today. But they didn't. Instead, they asked Jovan if there was someone he could call to pick him up. Jovan tried calling Kasandra, but she didn't answer. She was exhausted. She'd been calling him all night, and now he was calling her at 3 a.m. So the police made a decision. They allowed Jovan to go inside the other woman's apartment to sober up. They didn't arrest him. They didn't test his blood alcohol level. They just let him go. Later, investigators would determine that Jovan's blood alcohol content that night was 0.17, more than twice the legal driving limit in Missouri. He was dangerously drunk, and within hours he would commit murder. Around 7 a.m., Jovan finally left the other woman's apartment and drove home. He was still drunk. He shouldn't have been driving. But he got behind the wheel anyway and headed back to the apartment he shared with Kasandra, their baby, and his mother. What was going through his mind during that drive? Was he planning what he was about to do? Or did it happen in a moment of rage? We'll never know. What we do know is this. When Jovan walked through that door at approximately 7:50 a.m., Kasandra was waiting for him. And she was furious. We don't know exactly what was said when Jovan walked into that apartment. We don't know who started yelling first. But we know it escalated, fast. Kasandra confronted him. Where had he been? Who was he with? Why wasn't he answering her calls? Jovan's mother, Cheryl, was in another room. She could hear them shouting. She'd heard them fight before, but this felt different. This felt dangerous. And then, a sound that would haunt Cheryl Shepherd for the rest of her life. A gunshot. Then another. And another. Jovan Belcher didn't just shoot Kasandra once in a moment of rage. He shot her 10 times. 10. Let that sink in. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a single impulsive shot fired in the heat of an argument. This was execution. The autopsy report later revealed the horrifying details. Kasandra was shot in the neck, chest, arms, legs, and back. Police found a bullet hole in the floor beneath her body, suggesting she had fallen or been pushed to the ground and was shot while she was down. She tried to run, she tried to get away, but Jovan kept shooting. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots. She stumbled, she fell. 4 shots, 5 shots, 6 shots. She tried to crawl, she begged, she screamed. 7 shots, 8 shots, 9 shots. And finally, 10. Kasandra Perkins, 22 years old, mother of a 3-month-old baby girl, died on the floor of her own home. Cheryl Shepherd was in the apartment when it happened. She heard everything. She was frozen in terror. And baby Zoe, 3 months old, in her crib, crying. What kind of person murders the mother of his child, while his own mother and baby are in the house? But Jovan Belcher wasn't done yet. After shooting Kasandra, Jovan didn't panic. He didn't try to hide what he'd done. He didn't call for help. Instead, he calmly walked out of the apartment, got into his car, and drove away. Where was he going? Arrowhead Stadium, the Kansas City Chiefs training facility, his workplace. It was a short drive, maybe 10 minutes. And during those 10 minutes, Jovan Belcher made a decision. He wasn't going to run. He wasn't going to turn himself in. He was going to end this his way. At approximately 8:10 a.m., General Manager Scott Pioli and head coach Romeo Crennel were in the parking lot of Arrowhead Stadium. It was a Saturday morning. The Chiefs had a game the next day against the Carolina Panthers. Pioli and Crennel were probably going over game plans, discussing strategy, doing what coaches and managers do. And then they saw him. Jovan Belcher, pulling into the parking lot, getting out of his car. At first, they didn't think anything was wrong. Players sometimes came in early. Maybe Jovan wanted extra film study. Maybe he had questions about the game plan. But as Jovan approached them, something felt off. He wasn't walking like himself. His eyes were different, cold, distant. "Hey, Jovan," one of them said. "Everything okay?" Jovan looked at them, and he spoke calmly, too calmly. "I want to thank you," he said. "Thank you for everything you've done for me, for giving me a chance, for believing in me when nobody else did." Pioli and Crennel exchanged a glance. Why was Jovan talking like this? "Jovan, what's going on?" Crennel asked. Jovan didn't answer directly. Instead, he said, "I want to see the other coaches. I need to say goodbye to them too." Now they knew something was very, very wrong. "Jovan, talk to us. What happened? Are you okay?" And then Jovan said the words that made their blood run cold. "I did it. I killed her." Time stopped. What are you talking about?" Pioli stammered. "Kasandra," Jovan said flatly. "I shot her." Pioli and Crennel's minds were racing. Was this real? Was Jovan having some kind of breakdown? Was he serious? "Jovan, no. Listen to me, whatever happened, we can fix this," Crennel said, stepping closer. "Put the gun down, let's talk. We'll get you help. We'll figure this out." But Jovan was already backing away. He reached into his waistband and pulled out a gun. A different gun from the one he used to kill Kasandra. "Jovan, don't," Pioli shouted. Jovan took a few more steps back. He got behind a parked car. He looked at his coaches one last time. And then he raised the gun to his right temple. "Jovan, no, please." Bang. Jovan Belcher, 25 years old, Kansas City Chiefs linebacker, fell to the ground. Dead. Scott Pioli and Romeo Crennel stood there, frozen in horror. They had just watched one of their players, someone they saw every day, someone they coached, someone they cared about, take his own life right in front of them. Pioli immediately called 911. His voice was shaking. "We need help. One of our players just shot himself. He's dead. He said he killed his girlfriend." Within minutes, police and paramedics arrived, but there was nothing they could do. Jovan Belcher was gone. And across town, police were racing to the apartment where Kasandra Perkins lay dead on the floor. When Kansas City police arrived at the apartment, they found a scene of absolute devastation. Kassandra's body was on the floor, blood everywhere, shell casings scattered around the room. Cheryl Shepard, Jovan's mother, was in shock. She could barely speak. Officers gently escorted her out of the apartment. And baby Zoe, still in her crib, crying, unharmed physically but now an orphan. Investigators immediately began processing the scene. They photographed everything. They collected evidence, bullet casings, blood samples, fingerprints. But this wasn't a mystery. There was no question about who did it. Jovan Belcher had confessed to his coaches before killing himself. Cheryl Shepard confirmed she was in the apartment when the shooting happened. This was an open and shut case. But the question everyone wanted answered was, why? As investigators dug deeper, disturbing details emerged. They pulled Jovan's phone records. They found the threatening text he had sent months earlier to the other woman, texts where he said he would shoot Kasandra. They pulled Kassandra's phone records. 5 missed calls from her to Jovan between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. on December 1st. She had been trying to reach him all night. They interviewed the police officers who had found Jovan drunk in his car at 2, 8:30 a.m. Those officers now had to live with the knowledge that if they had arrested him, Kasandra might still be alive. They interviewed neighbors. Many said they had heard Jovan and Kasandra arguing frequently. Some said they had heard things breaking. One neighbor even said they thought about calling the police once but didn't want to interfere. And then came the autopsy reports. Kasandra's autopsy confirmed what investigators already knew. She had been shot 10 times. The wounds were in her neck, chest, arms, legs, and back. The angle of some of the shots suggested she had been on the ground when she was shot. The medical examiner ruled it a homicide. Cause of death, multiple gunshot wounds. Jovan's autopsy revealed he had shot himself in the right temple with a different gun than the one used on Kasandra. His blood alcohol content was 0.17, more than twice the legal limit. But the most significant finding came later. Doctors examined Jovan's brain tissue, and they found it. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. Jovan Belcher's brain showed clear signs of degeneration, consistent with repeated head trauma. The same condition that had been found in other NFL players who had committed suicide or violent acts. Junior So, Dave Dewison, Aaron Hernandez, and now Jovan Belcher. This discovery reignited a national debate. How much responsibility does the NFL bear for what happened? The day after the murder-suicide, on December 2nd, 2012, the Kansas City Chiefs were scheduled to play the Carolina Panthers. The game wasn't canceled. Some people criticized the NFL for this decision. How could they play football the day after one of their players murdered someone and killed himself? Others argued that playing was the right thing to do, that it was a way to honor both Jovan and Kasandra by not letting tragedy stop life completely. The Chiefs played, and they won 27-21. But nobody was celebrating. In the locker room after the game, grown men, professional athletes were crying. Some couldn't even speak. Head coach Romeo Crennel, who had witnessed Jovan's suicide just hours earlier, addressed the team. His voice was shaking. "We play this game because we love it," he said. "But today reminded us that there are things bigger than football. We lost a teammate. We lost a young woman. We lost what should have been a family, and we'll carry that with us forever." In the weeks and months that followed, the full picture of what happened began to emerge. Police released their final report. It confirmed that Jovan had been out with another woman the night before the murder. He had been found drunk in his car by police at 2:30 a.m. He had sent threatening texts months earlier, saying he would shoot Kasandra. He had shot Kasandra 10 times while his mother and baby daughter were in the apartment. He had driven to Arrowhead Stadium and confessed to his coaches before taking his own life. The report also included statements from friends and family. Many said they had seen warning signs but didn't know what to do. Some said they thought about intervening but didn't want to overstep. One friend said, "I knew their relationship was bad, but I never thought he would. I never thought it would end like this." Kasandra's family was devastated. They released a statement through their attorney. Kasandra was a beautiful, kind, loving person who had her whole life ahead of her. She was a devoted mother, a loyal friend, and a bright light in this world. She did not deserve this. No one deserves this. Our family is shattered. We will never get to see Kasandra grow old. We will never get to see her raise her daughter. Jovan Belcher took that from us, and we will never forgive him for that. They also made it clear. They didn't want people blaming CTE for what happened. Yes, Jovan had brain damage. Yes, it likely affected his behavior. But that doesn't erase what he did. It doesn't bring Kasandra back, and it doesn't excuse murder. Jovan's family also released a statement, though it was much more complicated. His mother, Cheryl Shepard, was in the apartment when the murder happened. She witnessed it. She heard every gunshot. She saw her son drive away, knowing what he was about to do. In her statement, she said, "I loved my son. I will always love my son, but I also loved Kasandra, and what Jovan did was unforgivable. I replay that morning in my head every single day. I wish I could have stopped it. I wish I had seen the signs. I wish I had done something. But I didn't. And now 2 people are dead and a baby girl has no parents. I have to live with that for the rest of my life. And then there's Zoe. Baby Zoe Belcher, 3 months old when her father murdered her mother. She's being raised by family members now. She'll grow up knowing the truth about what happened. She'll grow up knowing her father killed her mother, that her father took his own life, that she'll never know either of them.